Hi, today I'm going to read this story to you. It's called Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge, written by Mem Fox, illustrated by Julie Vives. Take a look at the front cover. I see a little boy on a skateboard. I see somebody that looks quite a bit older than him sitting on a wicker chair. They both look very happy. So this is a very long title. I wonder where it comes from. I wonder if it's somebody's name. While I read the story, I want you to see if you can make any connections to the story. And I also want you to think about the fact that you've been learning how to become a book critic. So pay close attention and think about that, being a book critic. What parts of this book are interesting to you, sad to you, touch your heart, make you smile, surprise you? Are there parts of the book that you enjoy, that you don't enjoy? Because you are going to be a book critic for this book. So, shall I begin? Let's see. I really like how the illustrator shows us this picture as we open up the book. Think you can figure out what that's a picture of? It's the backside of the old lady. And now, this one's quite interesting as well. This is the title page. It goes across 2 pages. It's really wide. But I see here that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chairs. Only 5 of those 6 chairs have people in it. I wonder why. See if we can figure that out. I'm sure that was put there like that for a reason. Here we go. There once was a small boy called Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge, and what's more, he wasn't very old either. His house was next door to an old people's home, and he knew all the people who lived there. Have you ever heard of an old people's home? Think about that as I show you Wilfrid's backyard. There's the back of his house. This is his clothesline where wet clothes are hung up to dry. A tricycle, and he looks like he's having fun. And there's a fence that separates his yard from the old people's home next door. He knows everybody there. So maybe you've heard of a nursing home or a retirement community or an elderly community, or maybe you are just familiar with the term old people. Same thing as elderly. You'll hear it used both ways. He liked Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. He listened to Mr. Hosking, who told him scary stories. He played with Mr. Tippett, who was crazy about cricket. Cricket is an old-fashioned game that people don't really play much anymore. But if you're familiar with the story Alice in Wonderland, the Queen played cricket. He ran errands for Miss Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. He admired Mr. Drysdale, who had a voice like a giant. Do you know any elderly people that play an instrument or walk with a cane or a stick like these guys? If you don't have an old person community or development or house in your community, do you have any old people or elderly people that live in your community, or you know of any? Maybe you have a family member or a friend. But his favorite person of all was Miss Nancy Ellison Delacourt Cooper, because she had 4 names just like he did. He called her Miss Nancy and told her all his secrets. There she is sitting in her chair, same lady as before. She looks quite happy, doesn't she? I wonder why she doesn't get out of her chair. One day, Wilfrid Gordon heard his mother and father talking about Miss Nancy. "Poor old thing," said his mother. "Why is she a poor old thing?" asked Wilfrid Gordon. "Because she's lost her memory," said his father. "It isn't surprising," said his mother. After all, she is 96. What's a memory? Asked Wilfrid Gordon, as he was always asking questions. It is something you remember, said his father. Here's a picture. And look at him, he's so silly, sitting upside down on the couch. Do you ever do that? But Wilfrid Gordon wanted to know more. So he called on Mrs. Jordan, who played the organ. What's a memory? He asked. Something warm, my child. Something warm. And it looks like, I wonder why. Think about it. Why would she say it's something warm? Take a look at the picture. Maybe that will help you. It looks like she's sipping something warm, like a cup of tea, some soup. When you eat some soup or drink something warm or eat something warm, like a warm apple pie, how does it make you feel? She seems to be enjoying her warm drink. He called on Mr. Hosking, who told him scary stories. What's a memory? He asked. Something from long ago, me lad. Something from long ago. That must be him right there. And his friends, and there's Wilfrid as well. He called on Mr. Tippet, who was crazy about cricket. What's a memory? He asked. Something that makes you cry, my boy. Something that makes you cry. Have you ever thought of something that happened in the past that made you cry? He doesn't look so happy. He called on Miss Mitchell, who walked with a wooden stick. What's a memory? He asked. Something that makes you laugh, my darling. Something that makes you laugh. Do you agree? Sometimes, at least. He called on Mr. Drysdale, who had a big voice like a giant. What's a memory? He asked. Something as precious as gold, young man. Something as precious as gold. I wonder what that means, precious as gold. A memory special to you? So Wilfrid Gordon went home again to look for memories for Miss Nancy, because she had lost her own. He looked for the shoebox of shells he had found long ago last summer and put them gently in a basket. Do you have a memory box? Do you have any special items that you hold on to? He found the puppet on strings, which always made everyone laugh, and he put that in the basket too. He remembered with sadness the medal which his grandfather had given him, and he placed it gently next to the shells. I think these things that he has in this box are very special to him. Do you have a connection to that? Next he found his football, which was as precious as gold. And last of all, on his way to Miss Nancy's, he went into the hen house and took a fresh warm egg from under a hen. Sounds like that football is very special to him. Then Wilfrid Gordon called on Miss Nancy and gave her each thing one by one. What a dear. Actually, I'll show you this picture first. There he is, giving her all those special things that he gathered for her. What a dear, strange child to bring me all these wonderful things, thought Miss Nancy. Then she started to remember. Now this, the illustrator decided that she wanted you to see the two of them from a further distance. Kind of neat, huh? She held the warm egg and told Wilfrid Gordon about the tiny speckled blue eggs she had once found in a bird's nest in her aunt's garden. There she is as a little girl. She put a shell to her ear and remembered going to the beach by tram long ago, and how hot she had felt in her button-up boots. She touched the metal and talked sadly of the big brother she had loved, who had gone to war and never returned. So if you take a look at that picture, I would think that that would be her and maybe another sibling, and her mom waving goodbye as her big brother, right there in the window, was leaving to go to war. She smiled at the puppet on strings and remembered the one she had shown to her sister, and how she had laughed with a mouthful of porridge. Porridge is just gloppy food, like oatmeal. And there she is playing with her sister. She's on the top of the chair. She seems very happy in that picture. She bounced the football to Wilfrid Gordon and remembered the day she had met him and all the secrets they had told. And the two of them smiled and smiled because Miss Nancy's memory had been found again by a small boy who wasn't very old either. Well, look at that. She's not in her chair. Look at that. Isn't that something? He put her in such good spirits that she popped right out of her chair. Look at that. Much different than before, right? There she is sitting, and then let me remind you of this picture, sitting in the chair. And look at this one. I was wondering why there was a chair without anybody in it. So, I think that most of you, if not all of you, can make a connection to that story, right? An elderly person that you know, that you care about in your community, right? Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about what a good book critic would say about the book, because you are going to be the book critic and you are going to review the book, just like you did yesterday with yesterday's story, Room on a Broom. Think about this. Would you recommend this story to somebody? You need to decide. I would recommend this story to somebody because, in my opinion, it's a very touching story about a very nice relationship between a young boy and an elderly lady who are nowhere close in age. My favorite part of the story is when he shared his special treasures with her, and he got her so happy that she got out of her chair. I think the lesson in the story is that it doesn't matter how old you are. We're all very important, and we all have feelings, and our feelings all matter. So, if you like stories like that, I think that Wilfrid Gordon McDonald Partridge is a story for you. So, did you like my book review? Did I make a good book critic? Now remember, you might not like that story, that's okay. You can also be a book reviewer for a story that you don't enjoy. So, I want you to think about what your favorite parts of the story were. I want you to think about what your opinion is. I want you to think if there were any lessons that you learned. And then when you do that, after you do think about that, you will find a Google form for you to fill out. So there will be some multiple choice questions for you that you'll have to choose the best answers for. I do hope that you did truly enjoy the story like I did. Bye.